Segregation is no longer illegal.
It is no longer illegal to say, here's the white water fountain and here's the colored water fountain.
All the whites to the back. Get your head back there, cracker.
TikTok influencers actually think Trump is bringing back segregation. Yes, seriously. We're going to break down the latest unhinged TikTok narrative that's spreading like wildfire, plus a viral controversy about a MAGA supporter getting kicked out of an LGBTQ bar, and so much more on today's episode of the Barad vs. Everyone podcast, my daily show where I take on the craziest ideas from across the internet, our politics, and our media, all from an independent perspective. Up first, guys, like I mentioned, we are going to talk about one of the most unhinged TikTok trends that's been going on. They can't stop. Even while I'm on vacation, they have to just constantly be hitting new heights, new levels of Delulu, because they now think TikTok influencers are now spreading fake news, declaring that Trump has made segregation legal again. Take a listen to this little compilation of videos.
Segregation is no longer illegal. Dude, when are people going to realize his idea of making America great again is de-evolving us?
Well, it's official. Segregation is now back on the table for the American government, and we have Donald Trump to thank for it.
Did you know Trump just legalized segregation again? Let me repeat that. Federal contractors can now ban black folks from bathrooms, restaurants, and jobs using your tax dollars. This isn't a history reboot. It's Project 2025's MAGA playbook, deleting civil rights.
Guys, ask yourself, if you're a thinking person, left, right, center, whatever, but if you have two brain cells to rub together, if you're able to critically think at all, does that sound right? Does that sound true? Does this sound like something taken from a reliable source and interpreted correctly? Or does it sound made up? Does it sound absurd? Does it sound too crazy to be true? Well, if it sounds too crazy to be true, that's because it is not, in fact, true. It's completely made up out of whole cloth based on a woeful misreading of an NPR article that directly actually contradicts the claim they're making. We'll get into more of it, but first I want to show you some more of this content that's just going insanely viral. Millions of people are seeing these videos. Take a listen to one from a lawyer who, guys, you should not be hiring her, is all I'll say, because I doubt her professional competency after this. Take a listen to this video.
It's time to speak up. They're rolling back segregation. They are rolling back segregation.
You mean integration. She means they're rolling back racial integration and bringing back segregation, but she can't even speak the words correctly. So we're off to a great start.
It is now no longer illegal to require separate facilities for people of different races.
Fact check. It is still, in fact, illegal. And this TikTok lawyer has no idea what she's talking about.
It is no longer illegal to say, here's the white water fountain and here's the colored water fountain.
Guys, she repeated it, so it must be true, right?
To be clear, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is still in place and has not been disbanded.
Wait, so you just explained how everything in the first part of your video is actually untrue. The law that makes segregation illegal is still in place and hasn't been changed, but Trump just brought back segregation, and it's now legal to have blacks and whites drinking fountains. Girl, do you hear yourself?
But we know what their goal is. There is always step one in a process, and we absolutely know what their goal is.
Bro, she just went from they rolled it back, they made it illegal, to, well, maybe they didn't, but we know what their goal is. Girl, what? Get a grip.
They are rolling back segregation. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? Because this time, white people, we are the ones that are going to be on the front crossing that bridge. Do you hear me? We are the ones that are going to stand in the streets. Our black countrymen have done their time at the front of the lines, and it is our turn. It is our turn to face the water hoses and to face the dogs and to face the tear gas, because we have let this happen. Not on my watch. Not while there is breath in me will we go back.
Oh my gosh. The woke white savior cosplay is officially out of control. Girl, I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. You are not the new Rosa Parks. Your imaginary protests about this thing you made up and then spread to millions of people are not stunning and brave. They're delusional and hysterical. Guys, this video has 193,000 likes, just so you know. TikTok is doing fine. It's doing amazing. People on the internet, Gen Z, are very well informed, and they're getting their news from very reliable sources. This is fine. America's totally not absolutely and utterly cooked.
Is anybody out there with me? Go love your neighbor.
I love the ending. Go love your neighbor by making insane, crazy things up, spreading fake news to millions of people, and getting people all upset and worked out about absolutely nothing. Girl, go talk to a therapist. Leave your neighbor alone. Your neighbor probably thinks you're unhinged. You're probably the one in the neighborhood everybody's talking about. And I just can't get over it. This woman in her bio says, recovering Republican, lawyer, and mom. Maybe she's a wonderful mom. But one thing she's not is a lawyer you should trust your legal issues with. I'm not convinced this woman can read. Now, the wildest thing about this story, which I am going to fully debunk in a minute, but the wildest thing about this story for me was some of the comments, particularly from black people on TikTok. And we'll get into that after this. You don't want to end up like these fat positivity influencers.
Just because I'm fat, that doesn't invalidate the things that I say.
She died.
You ready to get supersized?
She died too.
Today I've got the big Fruit Loop.
He's dead.
Join me on my Fat Positive radio show.
Which didn't last long because she died.
Maintaining a healthy weight, keeping your energy levels up, and feeling better in your body is so important. And that's why I'm happy to share today's sponsor, Lumen. All you have to do is breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning, and you'll know what's going on with your metabolism, whether you're burning mostly fats or carbs. Then, Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan for that day based on your measurements. You can also breathe into it before and after workouts and meals, so you know exactly what's going on in your body in real time. And Lumen will give you tips to keep you on top of your health game. So if you want to take the next step in improving your health, go to lumen.me/Brad to get 20% off your Lumen. That is LUMEN.me/BRAD for 20% off your purchase. Thanks to Lumen for sponsoring this episode. And now back to today's show. So in response to this viral video, a whole lot of TikTok people leaving comments seem to not only believe the totally fake news that segregation is legal again, but be kind of happy about it? Yeah, seriously. One woman wrote, "Lord, finally, we can be left alone. So black people can build their communities back in peace. Who uses water fountains?" That one was funny. I like that one. "Not doing nothing. We gon' line dance and barbecue." Another person wrote, "I don't really want to drink out of the same fountains anyway, LOL." And then this comment, oh my gosh, the white saviorism's off the charts. Kelly wrote, "We aren't going outside, Jessica. We support your fight." Jessica wrote, "Please don't come outside. We know they are trying to get you into the streets, and we know what they will do to you if you come out. The white folks have to stand up this time. They will unalive you." Literally, what is going on? Are these people okay? I'm concerned. And then there were just all these TikToks, like, again, kind of ironically, but also not that ironically, cheering on this imaginary news.
Baby, they talking about they rolled back the segregation law. Baby, all the whites to the back. To the back. All the way to the back. Get your head back there, cracker.
Okay, so now I'll go ahead and actually debunk this for you guys. All this hubbub, all this completely hysterical fear-mongering about Trump making segregation illegal again traces back to an article from NPR. That article is entitled, quote, "Segregated facilities are no longer explicitly banned in federal contracts." Now, what this article explains is that outdated old language saying federal contracts can't go to businesses that have segregated facilities was removed from federal contracts because it's outdated and irrelevant. Segregated facilities don't exist and are illegal, so you don't need to specify anymore like they used to. Oh, well, we can't have federal contracts going to segregated facilities. So they took this language out. That's all they did. Of executive policies about federal contractors. No laws were actually changed, to be clear. And even in this NPR article, it explains that this has no effect whatsoever. To be clear, all businesses, those that have government contracts and those that do not still need to follow federal and state laws, including the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which makes segregated facilities illegal. Did they just not read to that part of the article? Yes, I think that's exactly what happened. Many of them probably didn't even open the article. They just saw the headline and were like, Trump bad, segregation is back. Y'all, this is exhausting. I am exhausted. It really shouldn't be too much to ask. Like, it shouldn't be such a stretch, or like I'm the crazy one, that people make criticisms of the Trump administration, push back on policies they disagree with and dislike, but remain somewhat tethered to reality. Like, is that too much to ask? Am I being unreasonable here? I'm worried about this because things in our national politics are really chaotic and really divisive right now, and a lot of controversial stuff is happening, and it should be bad enough. But at the same time, so many people on both sides, but right now at least I'm focusing on the kind of online left and young people because of TikTok being one of the main things I cover, but so many people are convinced and so strongly convinced of things that are simply not true, that are not happening. I mean, we covered this on the show, but like the number of people that think the Supreme Court is rehearing gay marriage and going to overturn it, even though that is literally not happening, is just astounding. And this stuff just spreads like wildfire on the internet. And then if I make a video pushing back on it, it will get a tiny fraction of the views. You see this on Twitter with the right wing. They're constantly spreading stuff that's going viral on X that is also not true or is misleading or needs to be fact checked. Elon keeps getting hit with community notes on his own app. And to be fair, I actually like the community notes feature. I think it does a pretty good job. And by and large, it's one of the things Elon has done on X that is I think, a positive development. But I'm just saying, like, America, is the critical thinking, is the media literacy, is it in the room with us right now? Because I think it's going extinct. I really do think it's going the way of the dodo bird in American life, that not everyone, but a lot of people just utterly lack basic critical thinking and media literacy. And it shows. It shows every time I open the TikTok app or, frankly, anywhere else on social media from either side. I'll just be over here screaming internally. Well, what do you guys think? Have you seen people fear-mongering and hyperventilating about this completely made-up segregation thing? Do let me know in the comments. Do hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed if you aren't yet. We are so close to 200K, and that's a really amazing goal. I didn't think we'd hit this soon. So do subscribe if you're a regular viewer and you haven't yet. And now we're going to talk about a controversy where an LGBTQ bar just kicked out a Trump-supporting customer who went in there with her husband. Take a listen to this coverage from Pink News.
Get out of my bar.
Because I'm wearing a Trump hat.
A queer-friendly jazz bar has responded to backlash for kicking a woman out for wearing a MAGA hat. On Friday the 14th of March, staff at Chatterbox, a jazz bar in Indianapolis, Indiana, told Elise Hensley to leave their establishment as she was wearing a Make America Great Again hat.
Why? Why?
Because you're a Trump supporter.
I know, but don't you guys want our money?
No, actually we don't.
Taking to Instagram on Monday the 17th of March, the bar addressed the incident, writing, "On Friday, March 14th, a group of individuals visited Chatterbox and intentionally misgendered and harassed a Chatterbox employee, resulting in them being asked to leave by our staff. They then continued verbally assaulting our patrons and staff and threatened our establishment. We do not tolerate dehumanizing or disrespectful language or symbolism in our establishment." Elise Hensley, the woman who was told to leave, claimed the incident was discrimination.
You know this is like discrimination, right?
Oh, boo-hoo! Get out of my bar.
Elise has since been interviewed on a local news channel in which she said,
"I wore that hat because I do love our president of the United States. He is our president. I do appreciate that, and I don't think I find anything wrong with me wanting to wear a Trump hat because he is our president."
In response to Chatterbox's statement, Elise told the news channel that she did not misgender anyone at the bar and that she would have willingly taken off her hat if she was asked.
So it will shock you to learn that the comments sided against the MAGA hat wearing woman and with the bar owner. "Best bartender," one person wrote. "But I thought they were all about a business's right to deny service based on ideologies, like when bakeries refuse gay wedding cakes. Why is it bad now?" Another person said she went into the bar looking for trouble. "I 100% believe the bar's version of the incident." Another person said, "Why would you even go into a gay bar with a MAGA hat unless you wanted to intentionally start something?" Another wrote, "They have the right to refuse service to anyone they want." So I have mixed feelings on this, and my take might surprise some of you guys, but I think the business has every legal right to do this. I think that if you own a business, you should be able to kick out anyone you want based on their political views, legally speaking. Not about like, oh, what do I think is moral or good or the kind thing to do, but like, what should the law be? Legal anti-discrimination protections are supposed to be for immutable characteristics, things you can't change about yourself. So your skin color, your sexuality, that kind of thing, not your belief systems. If I ran a business, I would want to be able to kick out communists and kick out Nazis. Like, I wouldn't want you hanging out in my bar. You're not welcome here. I don't want your money. And it's my business. I should be allowed to do that under the law. Now, I personally have no issue with Trump supporters, and I don't think they're like evil, and I would welcome them in a business if I ran it. But a different business owner may feel differently. And this person, I'm not going to guess their pronouns because that's can only go wrong for me. But they appear to be somewhere on the Q plus spectrum, I'll say, to put it kindly. And maybe they view, honestly, fairly so, like the Trump administration is hostile to all that, and they don't want Trump supporters in their bar. As far as I'm concerned, that's their right. Like, I was always fine with, for example, the Christian baker saying, no, I'm not going to make a custom cake for a gay wedding because, okay, I'll get my cake somewhere else. I don't need to force you to violate your beliefs. It's your business. I feel the same way about this. If somebody wants to run a queer safe space and not allow Trump supporters, I think that should be their right. Do I support it? Not really. But legally speaking, I think they should have every right to do that. And it's not discrimination in the sense of like racial discrimination that people treat you differently based on your beliefs and the causes you choose to support. That's just a normal aspect of life. If somebody was walking around with apparel that indicated they support communism, I'm going to treat them differently because of their beliefs and what they support. And that's not discrimination. Like, technically it is, but we discriminate all the time in all sorts of ways. We treat people differently because of things about them. That's what discrimination means. It's not discrimination in the sense of invidious discrimination that should be unlawful because you're punishing people for their immutable traits. That's what we mean when we say discrimination. So I don't agree with this Trump supporting woman. She has every right to support Trump, but with the, oh, that's discrimination, I'm a victim. Spare me. I don't believe you're a victim because people are treating you differently because of your beliefs. Now, if you were like criminally harmed, that'd be totally different. But just to say you're not welcome here because of your beliefs is not victimizing you. You can go somewhere else. The same way I don't think those gay people who went to that Christian baker and had to go up the street to Costco for their cake, I don't think they were victims. Like, get it together, folks. Whether it's the left or the right, a lot of people are entitled these days. And a lot of people want to play the victim and think that if anybody ever holds them accountable for their own choices, that that's somehow victimizing them. It's not. And I don't feel particularly bad for this woman. Now, of course, Trump supporters and Trump voters have every right to say, all right, you don't want us, we won't patronize your bar. They can boycott it if they want. But I don't think this business owner did anything that should be illegal. And in the state of Indiana, it's not illegal to discriminate against people for their political beliefs. There are a few states where it actually is illegal, but I disagree with that. I think it should be legal to discriminate against people for the beliefs they choose to hold and the causes they choose to advocate for. And regardless, it's kind of a moot point because in this state, it's not illegal. So the business owner is in their legal right, and I'm not that bothered by what they did. I wouldn't do it if I was running a business. I'd certainly welcome people. But again, you get to make your own rules. And I don't have a lot of time for hypocrites who would say, how dare you reject us for being Trump supporters, but are fine with a Christian baker declining service to gay people. When gay people, it's not even a choice. But at least with your political beliefs, that's something you choose. What do you guys think, though? Do you support this MAGA woman, or do you support the bar owner? Let me know in the comments. And now we'll run through some quick hits to wrap up today's show before I get on a plane and head back to Michigan. And we'll be back in our normal routine and schedule and all that tomorrow. Up first, some liberals are cheering on criminal vandalism and attacks against random Tesla owners. Take a listen to this disturbing clip from The Daily Show.
They're taking to the streets or the parking lots.
Tonight, the FBI and ATF now investigating multiple cases of possible arson targeting Teslas and Cybertrucks.
This dramatic video shows multiple cars in flames. Police say the attacker used Molotov cocktails. It's the latest in more than a dozen instances of arson and vandalism targeting Tesla.
The same suspect shot more Teslas with a gun. Tesla Cybertrucks were set on fire in Kansas City, and earlier this month, shots fired at a Tesla dealership in Oregon. Cybertrucks on fire in Seattle.
Wow, you guys like petty acts of domestic terrorism, huh?
Hey, so that's unhinged. They just, this studio audience of card-carrying liberals at The Daily Show just cheered when the host showed clips of domestic terrorism, of people bombing and setting on fire Tesla dealerships, cars, and shooting bullets into store windows, all because they disagree with the politics of the owner. That's insane. Y'all need to get a grip. You need to touch grass. Remember, wait, politics isn't the end of the world. I'm a normal person. I don't support terrorism, because y'all have lost the plot if you're supporting this. Especially because, I mean, it's wrong anyway to, like, you don't have the right to firebomb a Tesla because your fifis are hurt about Elon Musk's political influence. But also, a lot of the vandalism and targeting is happening to everyday people whose cars are just parked on the street or in a parking garage or what have you. And, like, that's insane. It's not, they bought the car. You don't know what their politics are. Maybe they bought it a couple of years ago before all this. You're just harming your random fellow citizens while having no impact on Elon, except unless they have to take their Tesla to get repaired at a Tesla dealership. Then you're actually potentially generating revenue for Tesla. So great job, vandals out there. But the fact that so many liberal Americans are cheering on criminal acts and acts of terror just because they hate Elon that much is really concerning to me, that people have lost the plot. Because once you go down that path, it can take you to a very dark and dangerous place. Up next, hospitals are asking about babies' sexuality and gender identity now. Yes, seriously. The New York Post reports that New Jersey hospitals are asking parents to identify the pronouns and sexual orientations of their newborn babies. Newborns can't even control their own movements, but that isn't stopping New Jersey hospitals from asking parents for their baby's preferred pronouns and sexual orientation. Inspira Health's Sexual Orientation and Gender Identity Questionnaire requires new parents to identify their babies as either male, female, transgender, genderqueer, or additional gender category. It further asks parents to select the word that best describes their infant: lesbian or gay, straight or heterosexual, self-described, or questioning unsure. Bro, how can a newborn describe it? Self-describe. What does that even mean? Newborns can't speak. What is going on? The healthcare system, which operates 4 hospitals, 2 cancer centers, and 8 health centers throughout South Jersey, created the form last year to comply with a newly enacted Garden State law that requires healthcare providers to collect race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, and gender identity in a culturally competent and sensitive manner. And y'all wonder why people think the DEI stuff has gone too far. Now, I don't necessarily blame the hospital system here, because they may just be trying to comply with this weird law, and the reporting did say that they requested a waiver to be exempt from it and hadn't had it approved. But this is an absurdity, and I'm sorry, but this is just one example of thousands where this identitarian stuff, particularly around the gender identity and the sexuality and the whole LGBT issue, has gone too far, has been shoved down people's throats, has been stretched into absurd territories, and then you wonder why public support is backsliding. Look in the mirror, y'all. Look in the mirror. It is creepy and demonic to be asking parents of newborns what their baby's sexuality is or what their pronouns are. And whether it's a quirk of some law that Democrats and just put together not thinking about it and its consequences or not, it is a tiny piece of a broader disturbing trend where people really need to get their act together, because this stuff is not reasonable and Americans simply will not put up with it if they keep going down this kind of path. What do y'all think? Can you believe they're actually doing pronoun surveys of newborns now? Yes, this is real life, not the Babylon Bee. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed if you aren't yet. Thanks again to Lumen for sponsoring today's episode, and we'll talk again real soon.